But I want to move on kind of into the quarterbacks, but revolving around a special team that some would say we talk about too much, but it's because we live in the area, and a lot of us here at
You
Most
guys keep
Valuable
giving those
Podcast,
thumbs up.
a lot of us at Most Valuable Podcast are Bear fans. I think I'm the only one that is not a Bear fan.
I think the thing, too, is you guys know how this works. Those thumbs up. You guys keep giving us thumbs up on those
And
Bear
the
videos.
comments
And you keep
and-
commenting. We like the discussion. If you really want other teams to be talked about more, thumbs up those videos. Get more comments on them.
And that's one thing I'll go into. That is what this is. It's a discussion. It's not just us sitting here talking. It's us talking, bringing it to you. You guys discussing it in the comment section with us. But the Bears, the Chicago Bears, right now on this mock draft, the Bears are sitting at number 3. And the CBS mock draft has them at 3, taking Deshaun Watson. And Mark, would this be the right move for the Bears? Do you have to take a quarterback this early to possibly replace, well, it wouldn't be possibly, it would be replacing Jay Cutler?
Here's my problem with Deshaun Watson in Chicago. It's that John Fox doesn't want a mobile quarterback. John Fox doesn't want dual threat. John Fox wants his safe dink and dunk. Let's control the game. Let's move up the field. I don't think John Fox is the guy who wants that mobile quarterback who's going to take over the game. He wants that Peyton Manning. We're going to make smart decisions. We will take the shot when it's time to take the shot, but we're just going to slowly, methodically move. That is what a John Fox offense is. He wants the run game to be well. Of course, Deshaun Watson obviously is going to help the run game, but I just can't see, assuming that John Fox is still the coach of the Chicago Bears, getting a second win, of course, that's going to help. Not by too much. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But really, it comes down to this for me. If John Fox is our coach, I don't want Deshaun Watson because I don't think it's going to be a good marriage. And when you got this coach who's drafting his guy, that's exactly what it is. And I don't want to fall into the trap of John Fox gets fired, Deshaun Watson's not being as successful. All right, then the next coach, he goes and wants his guy instead. I don't want to fall into that trap.
Here's how I see it. If what you're saying, and John Fox is the guy where he wants the Peyton Manning, like the dink and dunk, okay, we're going to take our shot here. I don't want the mobile quarterback. Then for Deshaun Watson, the interview part of the combine is going to be the most important part for Watson and the Bears, because Watson, if you watched him last year, you'd say, oh, he's a dual threat quarterback. But coming into this year, Watson even came out and said, I'm not a dual threat quarterback. I don't want to be known as a dual threat quarterback. And he's been kind of backing off on that. If that's one of the things where Watson's like, I don't want to be that, and the Bears are like, you know what, we can win with your talent, then sure, Watson could be the guy. But the thing that I'm thinking about for the Bears, and this is all depending on, let's say, for the sake of argument, they have the number 3 pick, like they do in this mock draft. Don't go quarterback at number 3. Same thing we said for the Browns. Do not go quarterback. Because the one thing that I think you can do is, depending on what the Browns do, depending on what the Niners do, I think the Niners take a quarterback. I think they, like a Chip Kelly guy, looks for like a Deshaun Watson or a Brad Kaya, a guy to fit his system. Cleveland gets a pass rusher, most likely Myles Garrett. That means the Bears, you can go another pass rusher to pair up with Floyd. You can go Jabrill Peppers to put in your secondary. You're not going to go Leonard Fournette, mainly because I think that Bears fans and Ryan Pace and the Bears staff like what you're getting out of Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't necessarily go Fournette. Maybe, you can go for a wide receiver like a Ross, or if you have Juju Smith ranked that high, but basically, what I'm saying is you don't have to go quarterback at 3. Go something else. Go anything, even trade back. And right now, a guy who isn't even in the first round of this mock draft, who might not even be in the first round, that you can snab at the beginning of the second round, who I'm looking right here on Todd McShay's kind of where he's ranking the quarterbacks. It's a guy who's a tier 2 quarterback in this draft who he's got that gunslinger mentality, Chad Kelly.
Yeah. I think Chad Kelly is a little tempting because you can sit back and probably grab him. Assuming that these other guys don't climb in or climb up even higher, and then you get a Paxton Lynch-like situation. So what I was going to kind of go for is, once again, it's tempting when you're up there, especially if the Bears have the first pick, to just take your quarterback. You do still have time on Jay Cutler's contract. Hoyer hasn't looked good. Well, he hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked bad.
But the thing with Jay Cutler's contract isn't it if you cut him this offseason, you don't have to pay him?
Well, the guaranteed money is basically taken care of at this point. So, but the thing with that, too, is sure, you're going to pay a good amount of money, but you can keep him, and the guaranteed money is still gone. So you can delay that further. At one, in some way, I'm going to say there's really no point in continuing to delay getting rid of Jay Cutler because we know he's not the future. But at the same time, do you really want Brian Hoyer leading your offense? Brian Hoyer's had a lot of trouble getting, when he's actually in the red zone, scoring for the team. And that's an issue unless you just want to tank all the time. But the offense itself has quite a bit of issues that need to get worked out. There's another situation where I don't think just getting the quarterback is going to be the solution to the problem. What I would love to see is for the Chicago Bears to take Peppers. And a big reason why is I remember the last time the Chicago Bears took a safety.
Because Kyle Fuller hasn't been
Kyle Fuller sucks.
Yeah.
He doesn't suck. I don't want to get too crazy.
He hasn't been living up to what you guys were hoping he would be. Yeah.
I shouldn't say the last time the Chicago Bears drafted a safety, but the last memorable safety being Brian Urlacher, who turned into an amazing middle linebacker, future Hall of Famer. So
Jabrill Peppers could be the same thing. He plays linebacker. Well,
he's very versatile.
Linebacker, yeah.
Yeah, and we don't need him to be a linebacker, but if he can be that tough guy safety, or he can just be a really versatile corner, because we do need some help at corner, that would be great. And he's a guy who can occasionally move in a little bit at the linebacker position if you want him to creep up. It's just an option that is so versatile, and on that defensive side of the ball, which currently is probably one of the few good things about the team, that I think it's tough to pass up. And you're saying quarterback, and I know we all say quarterback, and I've jokingly said it for so long. Guys got to remember, I like to make jokes. The Bears #1 overall. I've been saying that for a long time. Jokingly, I obviously don't want my team to be shitty. But, when you're this high up, like, sure, we want to get that quarterback, but it's not going to solve all the problems.
Well, and another reason why I think taking a guy like Jabrill Peppers in the first round and then maybe trying to see, because the one thing that's interesting is Ryan Pace proved last year if he wants a guy, he's not afraid to go up and get him, even if it's a spot or two. What I think the Bears could end up doing is kind of, if you still have Jay Cutler at this point, maybe you can package him in for a trade maybe, but take Jabrill Peppers at 3rd overall. Boom, you got your guy for the defense, either hard-nosed safety or can come in and help out at the linebacker position. Then late first round, maybe early second round, depending on how he falls, I think you look for a guy like, I'm going to say Chad Kelly again, because, he's got that gunslinger mentality. Is maturity right now a little bit of a red flag? Yes. But when you look at the Ole Miss system and you look at they ran a lot of half-field reads and a lot of quick screens, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's not exactly it, but
it works.
That's what you're talking about. I want to say Mike Fox. John Fox is the guy who dink and dunk, boom, throw it down the field. Chad Kelly could fit that pretty well for John Fox.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing right now, if the draft was today, the biggest thing for the Chicago Bears is we're not scoring points. That's the biggest issue. Obviously the biggest issue is really injury, but that's not going to be necessarily fixed through the draft. We're not scoring points. We're really, really struggling at that. So how do we fix that? And this early in the draft, you're not going to take Fournette because the Bears are pretty good at running back. There's not really anything that's going to solve that problem, number 3 overall. So, just if you're not scoring points, make sure the other team's not scoring points. I hate to be John Madden here, but if you're going to only score so many points, you got to make sure the other team is below that if you want to win games. So just shore up the defense. The defense is finally coming alive in Chicago. It's finally doing what we've kind of expected them to be able to do. So just keep hitting home. Just keep driving it.
And the one guy you're going to hear a lot of, especially you guys from Sean Anderson, as we get closer and closer and actually into the draft process, is a Deshone Kizer. And to me, would Deshone Kizer be a good fit for the Bears? Probably not. And at this point, like I said, a lot of things can change. But right now, I'm looking at it. The main reason why Deshone Kizer would be a fit is he's from Notre Dame. Chicago's football team is basically Notre Dame. You ever be on the South Side, you see Notre Dame hats all the time. And the one reason why I say he would not be a good quarterback for the Bears is, yeah, he's got the intelligence, yeah, he's got the physical ability, but he doesn't have the accuracy within the pocket. And that's something, like you said with John Fox, doesn't want that athletic quarterback. He doesn't want that guy who's going to make plays with his feet. He wants the guy who, in the pocket, dink and dunk, okay, now we're going to take a shot down the field, hand it off to the running back as well, especially when you got a guy like Jordan Howard. I had to bring him up because I know that you're going to hear a lot of Kizer's name, especially from Sean here at Most Valuable Podcast, whenever we talk about the Bears. But before we move on, is there any quarterback kind of name that we didn't talk about with the Bears that you think, yeah, that's a guy that we could look at?
No, I really, of course, if something happens to where a guy like Trubisky is really climbing up, I mean, he's a guy who you would love because he's accurate.
And right now, CBS has him going to the Cardinals, I want to say at 9.
Number 9, yeah. He's a very accurate passer, and he's going to have the strong arm as well if he needs it. It's one of those things where 3, currently we're sitting here, from what we know, 3 is too early for the guy, but you know he's not going to be there when you're in the second round. So unless you pull off some type of trade situation, maybe you can go back and grab him. If you trade down from 3, sure, that's possible. He would work. Right now, with the situation that the Bears are in, I really expect a guy like Chad Kelly to be the answer. He's going to be a pretty accurate fit for John Fox and what he wants to do. And also just kind of, let's say John Fox even goes away, pretty accurate fit for what a lot of coaches would be willing to do with the talent that Chicago has. You know, you can't ignore Jordan Howard. Alshon Jeffrey's going to be out the door as soon as probably possible. Kevin White's probably never going to play. I don't know. He's injured all the time. So you got Zach Miller, a good tight end. You got a good running back, and you have some all right wide receivers. You're not going to get a guy who comes in here and saying, we're going to air it out all the time. This is not going to work. And you don't want then Deshaun Watson to be in that situation who has to take it upon himself, getting himself hurt, doing an RG3 type of situation. One of those type of quarterbacks where they end up ruining their own careers. That's the big thing that I would be scared of.
Well, and before we move on, the one thing that I can't wait to get into these quarterbacks. Like the quarterbacks,
a lot of quarterback talk to happen.
The quarterbacks to me are the most interesting part because I love diving into the comparisons, the profiles, the film. Like looking at Carson Wentz and Jared Goff last year was like my favorite part of the entire draft, and absolutely falling in love with Carson Wentz. And just being like, yep, that's going to be a guy who does stuff. That's going to be a guy who does stuff. I can't wait for when we get... Because right now it's too early to say, yeah, that's a guy who can lead the team. Unless it's like an Andrew Luck, but we don't have one of those in this draft.
Time.
So before we move on, Bears fans, NFL fans, let us know down below what you guys think. Is this the year where the Bears find their answer at the quarterback position in the NFL draft?